Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Florida Relocation Guide, your smartest way to buy, sell, and/or invest in the entire Southwest Florida market. My name is Adam Hancock, and today we are talking about what is going to happen with the housing market here moving forward. I want to highlight a couple key items. Inventory, shortages, things like that. What is happening? What is going to happen? I also want to talk about demographics, median age, net migration patterns, and why you should care about any of that. And then uncertainty in general. One of the biggest things is I don't know if we've had any stability over the last 3 or 4 years. We have inflation, interest rates, changing politics. And when the target's always moving, how do you make a poised decision, even if it makes a lot of sense on paper? So that's what we're going to do today and much, much more. Before we hop in, I want to mention two quick items. Relocation guides. We have a Southwest Florida relocation guide. If you're looking for a macro view, please download that in the description below. And I'm about to release my new construction picks for Southwest Florida in 2025. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be under that same link system. Secondly is a newsletter. We are about to put out our new revamped every 30-day newsletter. It's going to come out November 30th, which will be good timing for watching this video. So check that out, description box below. It's absolutely, both of those are absolutely free. There's a quick questionnaire, but we're just trading you for an email address. So please check both those out. Without further ado, let's hop in. Okay, the first topic I wanted to break down today is on inventory and the idea of just limited housing supply. I have read, I feel like several articles now over the last couple of weeks, especially that talked about, that were just harping scarcity and that builders over the last couple of years, because of the post-COVID era, had limited supply. And so they underbuilt homes for the demand that was coming. So just the supply and demand atmosphere is out of whack and all this kind of thing. And from a macroeconomic standpoint, nationwide, it's probably super poignant. Just overall, you take all the cities in play. But the problem here is that I think regionality is real. And so I pulled some numbers to kind of like back this point a little bit. And if you take Southwest Florida as a whole, which is, let's say, 8 significant counties, you have Pinellas and Pasco and Hillsborough in Tampa Bay, Sarasota, Manatee in Sarasota, Manatee Greater, and then you go down to Naples and you have a couple of counties down there and the in-between. So if we take 2024 versus 2022, right, we're going to go a couple of years back and then we'll come back closer. Half of the months this year were over 100% increase in sitting active listings at any time versus 2022. The other half of the year, every single month was over 40%. Most were in the 70, 80% year-over-year increase. Then we take 23, which is a more normal year, versus 24, I would say, versus 22. A lot of numbers there. On top of 2022, so 2023 would be an incremental increase on top of that. Almost every single month was a 30+% year-over-year increase versus 24 in active listings at any time. So another big jump. And most were sitting in the 50+% range. Then on top of that, you have new home communities. You have 688 plus active building new construction communities in Southwest Florida. Most sit in that Sarasota, Manatee County area and adjacent. And just the last couple of weeks, I've talked about communities that were sitting in areas that people wouldn't have moved to 10 years ago that are building 4,500, 5,000 residential door projects, which is like 1,500 homes in 2024 would probably take 8+ years to build out with normal demand. So to me, it's not as, depending on where you move, it's not as dire from a opportunity standpoint as it may seem. But you go outside of one city, one county, it's a completely different market. So 2 cents there. Couple takeaways on that subject matter. One, I think as a point of view from this channel, as a relocation-centric channel, abundance never hurts a buyer. You're an incoming buyer now, and you're looking at inventories higher than it's been in a long time from resale inventory. New construction, they're building and they're building and they're building. That's just more opportunity for you, which to me makes it where you have the chance to say, if I'm not ready right now, then I have a better than not shot that I could recreate this in 6 months. So in essence, I can be poised because I'm not going to probably run out and be penalized for not doing so. But at the same time, if you are waiting for some sort of gold rush, because that you're like, if I do something in January versus November, I might get some huge discount or some huge landfall. With this kind of consistent abundance, it probably doesn't fall on either side of the thing, which the beauty is you can just make the best decision for you and your family. You don't have to rush, but you don't have to wait for no reason. I think that's one. Number two is that in most metros you go to in 2025, I think there's going to be more options spread out in the different parts of that city than there ever has been in the last 5 to 10 years, especially. So you can basically go to a city and you can pick northeast of town, south, you can go more urban, you can pick different sections of the town, juxtapose those, where like in 2020, 2021, and especially before that, there was one huge winner and everything bounced off of that, which maybe made you make a decision that wasn't perfect for you just simply because of lack of options. And lastly, I think, again, another big perk for a relocation buyer is that you're just going to have more discounts, you're going to have cheaper pricing. And what builders are going to have to contend with now that they haven't had to deal with, especially in the last 5 years, is they're going to have to compete with resale homes. Resale homes are also going to compete with builders, which is going to make where like Lakewood Ranch suburbs or Welland Park or Wesley Chapel or something like this are going to have to out discount each other or offer some gravy train somewhere where it's going to have to incentivize a buyer in a more compelling way than they had to do in the past, which again is a big benefit to you. All right, number 2 on the list, I want to talk demographic change in both age and or family model. So one of the most interesting things that came out of that COVID era timeline to me was kind of what happened with that workplace, work from home environment. So there's all these major cities around the country that weren't Sarasota that people were tied to because of some work environment, right? They have more industry, the economics of that industrial town works for them, and we don't really have that in these retirement towns. And then all of a sudden during that COVID timeline, these employers were like, not only can you work from home, but it started to feel like it was infinite. At least like infinite in people's work, like people that are going to retire, like it started to feel like there's a better than not shot that this is going to last 2 to 5 years. And there was even contracts that were tied to that. And people felt like after a little bit when that newness wore off, they felt like, they could look around and say, okay, well, if this is true, would we live here? Like, what do we actually want to do? And a lot of people can't take that breath ever to decide that. So it created a double interesting ripple. So if you take like Chicago, Illinois, for example, what I saw a lot of times was, okay, I'm working in downtown Chicago, right? Quality of life, probably not great, but I got to be close to this. And then when all that happens, they say like, okay, well, I still have family here and like, I'm not leaving yet in case something happens. So what they did is they didn't move straight to Florida from downtown. Some people did, but a lot didn't. They moved to further parts of the Illinois suburbs. So they shoot out to the suburbs and say, I don't have to go here all the day, but I'm still in proximity. And then the people in the suburbs are like, oh my gosh, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? My random suburb that's on the fringes of downtown Chicago has become way too in vogue. So my property value is way up here. These people take that, sell, they run to Florida and live out the rest of their days in empty nester paradise. And then there's all these other people around the country that moved, did something similar in different states, or they moved directly there. And then the great pullback starts to happen. So what I've been seeing over the last 3 to 4 months is these employers, like a lot of people expected, they said, never mind. You got to come into the office 3 days now, right? That's not a big problem, right? You can come here 3 days and work from home too. It's still great. And by the way, we're still based in Chicago. We're still based in Virginia. You got to live in one of these major cities. And a lot of that kind of proverbial paradise of people that they would be looking at palm trees, working on their back deck and all this kind of thing for the rest of time started to wear off. And the problem is that towns like Sarasota, Naples, et cetera, still aren't built economically to support you saying, never mind, guys, I'm going to get a finance job here, because they don't have that in abundance. And I've seen that reflected directly in the demographic information, because I would have guessed, and I tried to guess before the data proved me wrong, that what I'm feeling is that the median age is decreasing. But Tampa, Sarasota, and the like, we're seeing 2-3 years annual increases in median age with a combination of less young people moving here now, and then like aging in place, people that are already here getting older, which is overall increasing the age. Now we have a new census coming out. That was as of 2022. We have a new census coming out in 2024. So we'll see if the last 2 years had a material effect in that. But on the surface, that makes a lot of sense to me. The one caveat here to this whole conversation, if you're still rolling with me, is that I don't think that you in 2022 get in your mind that I'm reevaluating everything. And now, I'm taking a different perspective on, my day-to-day quality of life and where I want my family to be and all these kind of things with commute to work. And I'm fully gone in my head, so much so that I move across the country to a different state. And then they recall me back to work. And then all of a sudden I just snap back in place. I think people made mental shifts in their mind that they're never going back. I don't know how it would physically and functionally work out yet, but I'm not going back. And I think a huge part of the population that I dealt with personally, like at least my sample size, that was 100% true for. So now you're stuck with, I can't move to that retirement town necessarily. I'm getting recalled back to work, but I still have this change in my mind. My family's here. They're happy. They're settled. So what do I do? This is where I think the idea of a happy medium town really comes into fruition. I think areas like Tampa Bay, Florida, I think areas like DFW in the Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I think these come into prominence because they combine a lot of the things on the surface that these other surrounding, like more retirement-centric towns offer, like the no state income tax, the great weather, mostly year-round, and all these kind of things. I mean, Charleston, South Carolina, parts of Georgia, parts of Tennessee that offer that maybe a New Jersey or Canada or parts of California do not. But at the same time, they have enough going on around them that will support you if you want to work in defense or IT, or you want you have 60 years of life left to live. And I think they may be the biggest benefactors of the next few years. Number 3 on the list is just the idea of total uncertainty. You have interest rates, you have inflation, housing market supply, COVID, politics, the work from home changes I just talked about. Over the last 4 years, it would be incredibly difficult to pick a constant. And you take that and combine it with all that. Earlier in the video, I talked about abundance in the home relocation buyer market. You got more options and you have a constantly moving target. So even if on paper the housing market gets slightly better, I could totally see in people's minds why there still would be a very large pause button. So for that reason, I think that in this category, there's going to be a lag. I truly do think the real estate market in Southwest Florida is going to get better in a lot of aspects versus what people are trying to do now. But I do think there will be a delay in decision making because people feel like they're waiting for some other shoe to drop. So my simple takeaway under this general guise is if you're on the side of saying that, yes, you feel uncertain, the holidays are about to hit, we have Q1 going, I'm going to see what happens, I'll figure it out from then, I don't need to do anything, but I can, then I don't think you're going to have a lot of risk. I really think that if you do something in January or you wait 6 months, I think it will be similar and you won't have a big penalty for doing so. However, in any time that this will happen, if there's going to be a large amount of people that say, I'm going to wait and see what happens and maybe win there, then there's going to be other people that make a decision while other people are waiting, whether that's the first phase of new construction, whatever it may be, that are going to potentially get a benefit for doing so from an equity or getting an early or whatever it may be standpoint, which goes with any supply and demand market. So for number 3, that point is simple, but I think it falls on both sides of a nice juxtaposition. All right, my 4th and final point for this video is a random one, but it is the shift away from interest level when it comes to condominiums, whether that's luxury or resale. So we are seeing, we all saw the Seaside, South Florida condominium collapse, and then the kind of ripple up to the Naples and the Sarasota and beyond areas that have assessments and these engineering double checks. And that was beyond the already economic situation that is purchasing a condominium that's coastal. You gain location, but economically, it kind of sits on the side. And we're really seeing that in the numbers. And if you take, I pulled just Lee and Collier County, Sarasota, Manatee, so the real dance what people think of coastal condominiums, and obviously Tampa Bay has a large presence as well. But if you just take this small sample set, year to date in 2024 versus 2 years ago, you're down 26% in total condominium sales, whether they're new or resale. Last year versus this year on top of that, you're down almost 12%. So we're seeing a shift away a little bit in just total purchases. And what we're really noticing to be winning out in that conversation, as far as like if they shift from here and they're still buying, where do they go? New construction villas, more villas than townhomes, but townhomes as well. And just inland, alternative, somewhat affordable retirement options. Del Webb, Coulter's 55 and up products, the water sides, like these really sexy new construction master plan suburbs, but are more the urban environments, not as family centric, but more empty nester centric. They're small single families at 1,800 square feet. They're villas that live like a single family. And if you give up a little location and you move 12 miles or so, and most of Southwest Florida, you almost gain everything. It's cheaper in fees, it's cheaper in principal cost, which cascades down to liquidity, and then you gain more size, you gain more amenities other than the natural geography of the coast, and obviously, and all of that aside. But anyway, quick point, but just wanted, I think that's going to be a trend that continues. If I look as a finance guy at condominiums on paper, if money is an object, and it's not no object, then for the sacrifice of 8 to 12 miles, there's not an economic line in the P&L that makes sense to me when purchasing a condominium on the coast. So 2 cents there. And if you give me a second, we'll wrap up. All right, my friends, that is a wrap for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is the Florida Relocation Guide. My name is Adam Hancock. If you are enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell notification. That's the best way to see what's coming next. We have more predictions about what we think is going to happen in 2025. We have our new construction picks and a lot of futuristic kind of stuff related to Southwest Florida. Beyond that, if you are potentially looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate across Tampa Bay, Sarasota, and or Naples, please consider reaching out. We have, you can call, text, email. We have an incredible and very unique team. We really specialize in relocation and new construction. Relocation Guide I mentioned at the beginning is a great free download if you want to check that out. Sign up for the newsletter before you head out. And thank you guys so much for your time watching my videos. We'll see you on the next one.